Have you ever found yourself standing at the edge of a new opportunity, but your mind holds you back, whispering doubts and fears? It's like you're trapped in your own head, unsure of who you really are and what you're truly capable of. The question is, what does it really take to break free from this invisible cage and step into the person you know you can be? We all have those moments, don't we? Moments when the fear of failure, the anxiety of the unknown, holds us back from moving forward. And in those moments, we tend to lose sight of one of the most powerful things we can possess: self-confidence. But here's the thing. Confidence isn't something you're born with, nor is it something you can fake forever. True confidence comes from within. It's the result of understanding who you are, accepting your imperfections, and most importantly, trusting yourself, even when everything around you seems uncertain. So ask yourself, what would your life look like if you embraced that kind of confidence? If you could let go of the doubts and simply believe in your ability to take on whatever life throws at you? What would you achieve if you weren't held back by the fear of judgment or failure? Today, we're going to explore the journey of building that kind of self-confidence, the kind that doesn't rely on external validation, but instead grows from the inside out. It's a journey that requires courage, persistence, and a willingness to let go of the things that no longer serve us. So let's dive in, and together, we'll discover the powerful path to building unshakable confidence step by step. Introduction to the journey of self-confidence. Building self-confidence is not a straight path. It's more like a winding road full of unexpected turns, bumps, and obstacles that seem to appear out of nowhere. The journey often starts with the smallest step, the decision to believe that change is possible. But that first step can feel like the hardest one. It's as if the weight of self-doubt is holding you back, telling you that you're not good enough, that you'll never be able to make it. I remember a time in my own life when I felt like I was stuck. I wasn't confident, and no matter how hard I tried, it felt like I was always falling short. I remember being terrified of speaking up in meetings, worried that people would judge me, that I wasn't smart enough to be there. I let those fears consume me, holding me back from seizing opportunities, from truly stepping into who I was meant to be. It wasn't until I hit a breaking point that I realized something crucial. If I kept letting fear control me, I would never move forward. But that's the first part of the journey: realization. Realizing that the fear you feel isn't a sign of weakness, but rather a sign of the growth you're about to experience. I took small actions, saying my thoughts out loud during conversations, pushing myself to speak in front of small groups, even if my hands were shaking and my voice felt small. Those actions weren't perfect, and honestly, they were far from flawless, but they were steps forward. Every step forward was met with resistance. Each time I pushed, my inner critic pushed back even louder. It would whisper, "What if you fail? What if people don't take you seriously?" Those voices are always there, lurking in the background, trying to pull you back into the safety of your comfort zone. And let me tell you, the comfort zone is the biggest trap. It feels safe, but it's a place where you can't grow. Eventually, I learned that the key to building self-confidence isn't about silence the fear. It's about learning to take action despite it. Confidence isn't the absence of fear. It's the courage to keep going even when you're scared. You see, the more you face the discomfort, the stronger you become. It's like building muscle. It hurts at first, but over time, you become more resilient, more capable, and more confident in your abilities. But even when you've taken several steps, there's always a moment when you'll feel like you're back at square one. For me, That happened when I was promoted to a leadership position at work. Suddenly, I was responsible for guiding others, making decisions, and leading a team. The fear I had felt earlier came back, stronger than ever. I questioned myself. Am I capable? Do I deserve this role? What if I fail them? But this time I knew I had a choice. I could either stay stuck in my head, or I could take the plunge and face the challenge head on. It was in that moment I realized that building self-confidence isn't about waiting until you feel ready. It's about taking action even when you're not. It's about trusting that you will figure it out along the way. And sure enough, I did. Every time I made a decision, every time I spoke up in a meeting, I grew. And with each small victory, my confidence grew as well. The journey to building confidence isn't a quick fix, but every challenge you face, every setback, and every failure is a chance to build something stronger within yourself. It's about learning to embrace the discomfort, to take action despite the fear, and to trust in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. In this journey, you will face moments of doubt. You will question whether you're enough. You will wonder if you're capable of what you're dreaming of. But remember this: self-confidence is built in those very moments, when you choose to keep going, even when you don't feel ready. Each time you face your fears, each time you push past your doubts, you're one step closer to the person you were always meant to be. So take that next step, even if it's small, even if it's shaky. Keep going, because your journey is just beginning. The difference between confidence and arrogance. Confidence and arrogance are commonly mistaken for one another, though they differ significantly. At first glance, they may appear similar because both are outward expressions of self-assurance. However, the foundation on which each is built could not be more distinct. Understanding the difference between them is crucial to building true confidence and avoiding the pitfalls of arrogance. Confidence is rooted in self-belief that is grounded in reality. It comes from knowing who you are, what your strengths are, and, just as importantly, acknowledging your weaknesses. When you are confident, you don't need to boast about your skills or achievements. They speak for themselves. You trust in your own abilities, but you are also open to feedback, learning, and growth. Confidence is flexible, adaptive, and humbling because it is built on an awareness of your own potential while recognizing that there is always more to learn. Arrogance, on the other hand, is rooted in insecurity. It is a defense mechanism that people use to protect themselves from their own fears and self-doubt. Arrogant individuals often exaggerate their abilities, dismiss others' opinions, and act superior to those around them to mask their inner vulnerability. Arrogance is the need to inflate one's sense of importance in the eyes of others. It is not a reflection of self-assurance, but rather an attempt to convince others and oneself of a false sense of superiority. Unlike confidence, which thrives in humility, arrogance thrives in domination and control. The arrogant person often feels the need to prove their worth, while the truly confident person is secure enough not to need constant affirmation. The key difference between confidence and arrogance lies in how they make others feel. Confidence is inspiring. It makes people feel safe, encouraged, and supported. It encourages collaboration and fosters mutual respect. A confident person doesn't need to belittle others to feel good about themselves. They understand that true success is shared. They uplift those around them and inspire others to believe in their own potential. Confidence is empowering, and it creates an environment where everyone feels valued. Arrogance, however, has the opposite effect. It makes others feel small, inadequate, and often intimidated. Arrogant individuals tend to dismiss the contributions of others and focus solely on their own achievements. They often take credit for things that weren't entirely their own, and their behavior can alienate and isolate those around them. Arrogance seeks to elevate oneself by diminishing others. It is not a force for collaboration or growth. It is a force for division. Another major difference between the two is how they handle failure. Confident individuals understand that failure is not the end, but a stepping stone to success. They view failure as an opportunity to learn, grow, and improve. They don't fear making mistakes because they know that it is through mistakes that they can become better. Confidence allows for vulnerability in the face of failure because the confident person knows that setbacks do not define them. They have the resilience to bounce back, to keep pushing forward, and to apply the lessons learned. Arrogant individuals, however, often cannot tolerate failure. When things don't go their way, they may lash out, blame others, or refuse to take responsibility. Their ego is too fragile to handle the sting of failure. Instead of learning from their mistakes, they cover them up, which only prevents them from growing. Arrogance, in many ways, creates a barrier to learning because it convinces the individual that they are always right and do not need to improve. This mindset often leads to stagnation. One of the factors that truly sets confidence apart from arrogance is the ability to accept and appreciate the contributions of others. Confident people recognize that they are part of a larger community. They understand that success is rarely achieved alone, and that working with others, learning from them, and celebrating their victories too, is a path toward growth. A confident person will give credit where credit is due, acknowledging the help and support of others without feeling threatened. In contrast, an arrogant person may feel threatened by others' success. They may refuse to acknowledge the talents and accomplishments of those around them, because doing so would mean that they are no longer the center of attention. Arrogance thrives in isolation, and it often leads to destructive competition, where the focus is not on mutual benefit, but on being the best, no matter the cost. True confidence is also about self-awareness. It is about knowing your strengths and being able to express them without arrogance. But it is also about being aware of your weaknesses and being open to self-improvement. Confidence allows you to be honest with yourself, whereas arrogance blinds you to your own flaws. The confident person is constantly striving to improve and grow, but they do so with a sense of balance. They know that growth takes time, and they are patient with themselves. Arrogance, on the other hand, prevents self-improvement because it is built on a false belief that there is no need to change. To conclude, confidence is an internal force that empowers you to pursue your goals, accept your limitations, and appreciate others. It creates a sense of calm and self-assurance that doesn't require validation from the outside world. Arrogance, on the other hand, is an external show of superiority driven by insecurity and the need for constant praise. Building true self-confidence is not about inflating your sense of self, but rather embracing who you truly are, imperfections and all, and trusting in your ability to grow, learn, and achieve great things. The harm of anxiety. Anxiety is something that can affect every area of your life. It doesn't just sit quietly in the background. It takes over your mind, your body, and your actions. It is the constant companion that whispers doubts in your ear, magnifies your fears, and convinces you that the worst possible outcome is inevitable. The weight of anxiety doesn't just exist in the mind. It spreads throughout your entire being, leaving you feeling drained, paralyzed, and disconnected from your own strength. Anxiety can deeply affect your mind. Envision attempting to stay focused, but your thoughts are constantly disrupted by concerns about things going wrong. Your mind spins with endless scenarios, worst-case ones, of course. You might think about what might happen at work, at school, or in your personal life, replaying potential outcomes in your head again and again. This mental loop is exhausting. It doesn't allow for clarity, and it prevents you from being present in the moment. Your mind becomes cluttered with uncertainty, and in the midst of it, even the simplest decisions feel monumental. You can't think clearly, because your thoughts are consumed with what-ifs. As these thoughts spiral, anxiety starts to erode your confidence. You begin to doubt your ability to handle challenges, second-guessing yourself at every turn. It becomes harder to trust your own instincts when the inner critic, fueled by anxiety, keeps telling you that you're not good enough or that you're bound to fail. You stop believing in your own capabilities, which directly affects your actions. Instead of acting with confidence, you hesitate, unsure of what to do, frozen by the fear of making a mistake or facing the unknown. Anxiety doesn't just impact your thoughts and confidence. It takes a toll on your actions as well. One of the most dangerous aspects of anxiety is how it leads to avoidance. When you're anxious about something, your first instinct might be to run away from it, to procrastinate, or to avoid the uncomfortable situation altogether. This avoidance becomes a coping mechanism, but in reality, it only fuels the anxiety, making it stronger and harder to overcome. Every time you avoid a challenge, the anxiety becomes more powerful, convincing you that you can't handle it. The longer you avoid, the more paralyzed you feel, creating a vicious cycle where anxiety keeps you stuck and in control. When you avoid, you miss opportunities. You miss the chance to prove to yourself that you are capable, that you can face difficult situations and handle them with grace. Each time you choose avoidance, you weaken your own belief in your ability to take on challenges. You don't build confidence through avoidance. You build it through action. But anxiety in its grip makes it feel impossible to move forward. The fear of failure or rejection can keep you from taking even the smallest step toward progress. It's as if the weight of your worries holds you back, preventing you from moving toward the life you want. Furthermore, anxiety affects your physical health, and this too contributes to a sense of helplessness. The constant tension in your body, the tightness in your chest, the racing heart, the shallow breathing, making it even harder to think clearly. When your body is in a state of constant stress, it becomes difficult to feel grounded or confident. The physical symptoms of anxiety can leave you feeling drained, exhausted, and unable to fully engage with the world around you. You may feel like you're running on empty, as though your body and mind are working against each other, rather than in sync. And all of this mental, physical, and emotional toll affects your relationships too. Anxiety makes it hard to be present with others. You might feel disconnected, as though you are carrying a heavy burden that no one else can see. This can cause you to withdraw, to isolate yourself from the people who care about you. When you are consumed by worry, it becomes difficult to engage with others, to connect on a meaningful level, or to enjoy the present moment. Instead, you're lost in a cycle of self-doubt and fear, and this alienates you from those around you. Anxiety also distorts your perception of reality. It makes everything seem worse than it is. Small problems appear enormous, and situations that are actually manageable feel like insurmountable obstacles. You become hyper-aware of potential dangers, constantly on edge, expecting the worst. This distorted view of the world only serves to increase your stress, as it amplifies your fears and makes it harder to see things clearly. It's like looking through a foggy lens. You can't see things as they truly are, and that makes it difficult to make decisions or take action. The longer anxiety lingers, the more deeply it embeds itself into your psyche, eroding not just your confidence, but your sense of control over your own life. It holds you hostage, preventing you from fully engaging in the things that matter most to you. It convinces you that you're not enough, that you're incapable, and that you'll never be able to handle what life throws at you. But in reality, These are just thoughts created by your fear, not truths about who you are. The more you feed into these thoughts, the more power anxiety has over you. But here's the truth. Anxiety doesn't have to control your life. It doesn't define who you are or what you can accomplish. Yes, it's challenging. Yes, it's uncomfortable. But you have the ability to reclaim control. By recognizing how anxiety impacts your thoughts, actions, and confidence, you can begin to take steps to manage it. You can start to break the cycle of avoidance, challenge the negative thoughts, and take action. Even if it's small, with time and practice, you can regain control, build your confidence, and create the life you want. Building self-trust. Building self-confidence is a journey that starts with small, manageable steps. It's not about waiting for the perfect moment to feel confident. It's about taking action every day, no matter how small, to strengthen your belief in yourself. The process is simple, but it requires consistent effort and commitment. If you're ready to start, here are the steps you can take today to begin building your self-confidence and learn how to face failure with resilience. First, set realistic and achievable goals. Confidence is built on the foundation of success, but success doesn't always have to be monumental. Start by setting small, measurable goals that you can accomplish within a reasonable time frame. These could be as simple as finishing a book, learning a new skill, or making a decision that you've been putting off. When you achieve these small goals, celebrate them. Each small success adds up and strengthens your confidence. These goals don't need to be life-changing. They just need to be doable. When you see that you're capable of achieving what you set out to do, your belief in yourself grows. Next, focus on your strengths. It's easy to focus on your weaknesses, but doing so only reinforces feelings of inadequacy. Instead, take time to acknowledge what you're good at. Think about your past achievements, no matter how small, and remind yourself of the strengths you've developed along the way. Reflecting on what you're good at helps shift your focus from what you lack to what you already possess. This shift is crucial in building confidence. Knowing your strengths allows you to approach challenges with a sense of self-assurance, knowing that you have the tools to succeed. Another important step is to practice positive self-talk. The way you speak to yourself has a direct impact on your confidence. If you're constantly telling yourself that you're not good enough or that you can't do something, you'll start to believe it. Replace negative thoughts with affirmations that encourage you to believe in your abilities. Instead of thinking, "I can't do this," try, "I am capable and I can learn what I need to succeed." When you consistently speak to yourself with kindness and encouragement, you'll notice a shift in your mindset. Over time, this positive reinforcement builds your self-esteem and belief in your potential. Facing failure is another essential part of building self-confidence. Many people shy away from failure, fearing that it will prove they're not good enough. But the truth is, failure is not the enemy. Failure is simply feedback. It's an opportunity to learn, grow, and improve. Ask yourself what you can learn from the experience and what you can do differently next time. The more you embrace failure as part of the learning process, the less power it has over you. When you start to see failure as a tool for growth, you'll begin to approach challenges with more confidence, knowing that mistakes are just part of the journey. In addition to setting goals, focusing on your strengths and embracing failure, it's crucial to build a support network. Surround yourself with people who uplift you, who believe in your potential, and who encourage you to push past your doubts. Positive relationships are a key part of building confidence because they remind you of your worth. When you have a strong support system, you're more likely to take risks, face challenges, and keep going when things get tough. These people don't just provide support. They also offer valuable perspective and feedback, which can help you grow even further. Another step to building confidence is to step outside of your comfort zone. Growth doesn't happen in familiar spaces. It happens when you challenge yourself to try new things, even if it's uncomfortable at first. Start small by doing something that makes you slightly uncomfortable, like speaking up in a meeting or trying a new hobby. As you keep pushing yourself, you'll realize that your comfort zone keeps expanding, and with it, your confidence. Each time you take a step outside of your comfort zone, you prove to yourself that you are capable of handling more than you thought. This not only builds confidence, but also resilience. Taking action, no matter how small, is essential to building self-confidence. Confidence isn't something that magically appears. It's developed through consistent action. It's about showing up for yourself every day, even when you feel unsure. Confidence is the result of repeated efforts. Whether it's tackling a new project, confronting a fear, or making a decision you've been avoiding, each action you take reinforces the belief that you can handle challenges. When you consistently take action, you begin to trust yourself more, and that trust is the foundation of confidence. Finally, be kind to yourself. Building self-confidence takes time, and you won't see results overnight. There will be days when you doubt yourself, when things don't go as planned, or when failure seems inevitable. In those moments, it's crucial to practice self-compassion. Treat yourself the way you would treat a friend who's struggling. Offer yourself encouragement, patience, and understanding. Self-compassion allows you to bounce back from setbacks without losing faith in your ability to succeed. It helps you maintain your self-esteem, even when things get tough. Building self-confidence is a journey, but with these steps, you can start today. Take small actions, embrace failure as a learning tool, surround yourself with positive influence, and challenge yourself to grow. The more you believe in yourself, the more you'll achieve, and the more confident you'll become. Accepting of failure. There was a time in my life when I believed that failure was something to avoid at all costs. I thought that if I made mistakes, it meant I wasn't good enough, that I wasn't capable of achieving the things I dreamed of. But one of the most important lessons I've learned over the years is that failure isn't something to fear. It's something to embrace. And I know this because, for the longest time, I was terrified of it. But looking back, I can see how essential it was for my growth. It was early in my career, and I had just started a new project that I was passionate about. I worked long hours, sacrificed my personal time, and poured all my energy into making it a success. I was convinced that everything had to go perfectly. I thought, if I do everything right, I'll succeed with you. But things didn't go as planned. The project failed. It felt like the weight of the world was on my shoulders. I was devastated, embarrassed, and unsure of what to do next. I didn't know how to face my team, how to explain that all the hard work we'd put in hadn't led to the success we had hoped for. For weeks, I replayed the failure in my mind, constantly questioning what I had done wrong. But in the midst of all that self-doubt, something began to change. I realized that I had two choices. I could either continue to wallow in my failure, letting it define me, or I could choose to learn from it and grow stronger. That's when I understood that failure is not the end. It's simply a part of the process, a stepping stone to success. What I learned from that failure is something that has shaped my approach to life and success ever since. Failure doesn't mean you're not capable. It doesn't mean that you're a failure. It means that you tried, that you pushed yourself, and that you took risks. When things don't work out, it's not because you're bad at something. It's because you've encountered a challenge that has yet to be overcome. The most successful people in the world have all faced failure. They didn't get to where they are because they never fell down. They got there because they were able to stand up, dust themselves off, and keep moving forward. The key to building confidence through failure is understanding that failure doesn't define your worth. When I failed, I thought I was a failure. But what I didn't realize was that failing at something didn't mean I was incapable. It simply meant I had more to learn, more to grow, and more to discover about myself. And the most important thing I learned was that it's not the failure that matters, it's how you respond to it. The way you handle failure can either make or break your confidence. After that experience, I made a conscious decision to change how I viewed failure. Instead of seeing it as something to avoid, I started seeing it as a learning opportunity. I began asking myself questions like, what went wrong? What can I do differently next time? And what lessons can I take from this experience? It wasn't about beating myself up or pointing fingers. It was about recognizing that failure is a valuable part of the learning process, a necessary step on the road to success. Another thing I realized is that when you accept failure, you also accept your imperfections. You stop holding yourself to an unrealistic standard of perfection. Perfectionism is often a barrier to success because it prevents us from taking risks, from trying new things, and from putting ourselves out there. When you accept that you will fail at times, you free yourself from the fear of imperfection. You give yourself permission to take risks, to experiment, and to grow without the pressure of being perfect. And this is where real confidence is built. You see, true self-confidence doesn't come from never failing. It comes from knowing that you can handle failure. It comes from trusting yourself to recover, learn, and keep moving forward. It's about building resilience. Confidence isn't about always succeeding. It's about understanding that when you fail, you don't give up. Instead, you learn, you adapt, and you improve. Confidence is built through the ability to bounce back after a setback, to try again, and to never let failure define who you are or what you are capable of. I've had other failures since that first one, and while each one stings, I've also learned to embrace them. Each failure has taught me something new about myself, about my strengths, my weaknesses, and my ability to overcome challenges. And the more I've learned to accept failure, the more confident I've become in my ability to face whatever comes my way. I've learned to see failure not as a reflection of my worth, but as a stepping stone to greater things. It's a necessary part of the process, a way of learning, growing, and becoming stronger. If you want to build real confidence, you have to make peace with failure. You have to understand that it's not something to fear or avoid, but something to learn from. The most successful, confident people I know aren't the ones who never fail. They are the ones who fail, learn from it, and keep going. So when you fail, don't let it break you. Let it build you. Use it to fuel your growth, to challenge yourself, and keep pushing forward. Because the real secret to confidence is knowing that you have the strength to fail and rise again, stronger than before. As we come to the end of this journey, I want you to take a moment and reflect on everything we've talked about today. Building self-confidence isn't an overnight transformation. It's a journey that requires patience, persistence, and a willingness to embrace both your strengths and imperfections. You don't need to wait for the perfect moment to start believing in yourself. Confidence is built through action, through taking the steps, however small they may seem, that will move you forward, even when you feel afraid or uncertain. We've discussed how to build confidence, how to overcome self-doubt, and how to face failure without letting it stop you. We've seen how confidence is rooted in understanding who you are and believing in your ability to grow and improve. Every challenge you face, every setback, is an opportunity to strengthen your belief in yourself. And every time you rise after a fall, you build more confidence in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. Now, I want to challenge you. Don't let this video be just another video you watch. Take action. Start today. Take one small step to build your confidence, whether it's setting a goal, facing a fear, or simply speaking more positively to yourself. Remember, the journey to confidence doesn't happen by watching. You have the power to create change in your life, and it starts with the decision to take action, no matter how big or small. If you found this video helpful and inspiring, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future content designed to help you grow, improve, and become the best version of yourself. And if this video resonated with you, please take a moment to like it and comment below. Share your thoughts, your struggles, your victories, and what you're going to do today to start building your confidence. I'd love to hear how you're taking action and moving forward on your own journey. The road to self-confidence can be challenging, but it's also incredibly rewarding. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Start now. Take that first step, no matter how small. You are capable, you are worthy, and you have everything it takes to succeed. Let's make this the moment where you decide to believe in yourself and take control of your future. Thank you for watching, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Keep moving forward. Your best self is waiting.